Okay, thanks, Eric. Now, a disability rights activist has called for the removal of cobbles in one of Northern Ireland's busiest tourist and nighttime areas. Recently, a number of cobbles in Hill Street in Belfast Cathedral Quarter were temporarily tarmacked after a gas company carried out work.
Well, the company said they would replace those cobbles by the end of the month. But Dermot Devlin, who sits on Fermanagh and Omagh District Council's Accessibility and Inclusion Group, believes that the cobbles should be removed permanently. That will prompt a sharp intake of breath, I'm sure, from many. Others will absolutely understand it. Dermot is on the line along with conservation architect Dawson Stelfox. Welcome both. Dermot, first of all, bring us through a typical experience for someone like you going into the Cathedral Quarter in Belfast.
No problem. Well, many people with disability would have the same, would have different reasons why cobbles are particularly troublesome and painful for them. But my experience as a powered wheelchair user, whenever I go with cobbles, it can damage the wheelchair, but also because of the bumps going up and down over the cobbles, that vibrates up through my back and spine, and I would have chronic pain, with arthritis in my foot, and I would have arthrosis, and I would have scoliosis. So on top of all that pain, the effect of the cobbles enhances that pain, and it pretty much affects me the rest of the day. So going over the cobbles can ruin my day and give me extra pain that I wouldn't normally have.
Does it make certain areas no-goes to you?
It certainly did, because I was up in Belfast not that long ago, and I was at an event, and I had to go through like a cobbled street. Now, I see people might be saying, and I've other people comment, why not use the footpaths? But the footpaths in these areas are very, very narrow, and they're populated with signage from shops, plus people park their cars on it, whether they're driving or delivery lorries. So I'm pretty much forced to go on the cobbles, or even if I want to cross the street, I have to go on the cobbles. And they might say, well, that's a short journey, I'll go across the road. But believe me, it might look like a short journey, but for somebody who is disabled, that pain sticks with you the rest of the day. So, these sort of areas are pretty much a no-go for me, which excludes me pretty much from the entire Cathedral Quarter, including places like York Street and places, the Duke of York and all that there.
Stay with us on the line, Dermot. I want to bring in Dawson Stelfox, conservation architect, listening to this. Does the argument for keeping cobblestones go much further than, yeah, but they're pretty?
Good morning, Declan.
Morning.
Yes, I suppose there's 2 points I would like to make. First of all, there are a number of reasons why historic cobbles are hugely valuable to a city or a place. But listening to Declan there are many ways to improve accessibility without the loss of historic character, and I can talk through some of those. But why are they important? They're important because historic character of a place is essential to its prosperity. It's essential to people wanting to live there, to work there, to go into these places. It's no coincidence, I suppose, that some of the most attractive areas in the city are also the areas that have kept its history, that have kept the historic buildings, materials. There are also local materials. The cobbles we have in Belfast either come from Basalt, from County Antrim, or they're ground from the Mournes. They're sustainable materials. They are inherently non-slip if they're laid properly. And we're not starting to use imported stone from China or India, which unfortunately is what happens when new areas are done.
So is the solution finding some kind of compromise?
There is, absolutely. The Royal Mile at Edinburgh, for instance, has been relayed over the last couple of years with keeping its historic cobbles, but laying them in a way which makes them much smoother to be on, getting rid of big gaps between them, having them well maintained so that they're smooth. Water runs off them so you don't get puddles and things, and they're non-slip. And there's also, crucially, safe crossing points of a street. you put in flagstones then, flat stone flagstones, to provide fairly frequent safe crossing, smooth crossing points across streets as well, to get rid of some of the problems that Declan's talking about. So I think good landscape architects understand the problems, but I'm saying we can have both. It's not necessary to tarmac over historic cobblestones.
Would you go as far to say that as it stands, somewhere like the Cathedral Quarter is letting down people like Dermot?
I think it definitely is. I'm actually using a walking stick for balance at the moment myself, and when I walk down into the city, there's many places where our streets are not well maintained. The cobbles are not well maintained. There's big gaps between the cobbles. Some of the cobbles are loose. Utility companies have a part to play in that, obviously, in terms of the repairs they're doing. But also the issues that Declan described there of cars parking on pavements, street signage, delivery vans. All those are things that should be properly managed in the city centres, and especially in somewhere like the Cathedral Quarter.
Dawson, thanks very much. Dawson Stelfox, Dermot Devlin still on the line. Final word to you. I mean, you heard Dawson there saying that wheelchair users like you, Dermot, and others are being let down by the Cathedral Quarter. Presumably you would say it is not beyond the wit of woman or man to come up with a solution where the historic character of these places can be maintained whilst also making them easier for you to get in and out of.
Certainly, I mean, if the cobbles were in a way that a wheelchair user like myself can go over them, or somebody who maybe would be with visual impairments, who would, which I know have on several occasions, have got their canes stuck between the cobbles and caused them to trip. Things like that. If that could be maintained, a way of accompanying, that's great. But I have not witnessed. I know other people say they've seen it in areas, but I've not witnessed that. So if something could be done, that would be great. But as Dawson also said, it's up to the council to make sure that the footpath is clear. But, with all the goodwill in the country, that can get locked very quickly. It might be good for the PR for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the cars are back on the footpath, the signage are back there. So it really needs, if they're going to do that right, they need to be very strict on that. But certainly, yes, if there's a way of maintaining it that doesn't impede people like myself, deaf and disabled people from entering the area, perfect.
We are very grateful to you, Dermot Devlin, for that insight, because this is stuff that some people will take for granted. Although I did hear the expression for the first time this morning, cobble wobble, which is for those who can use these wobbles, and suddenly in high heels it can get tricky as well. And a broken ankle or a sore ankle is serious in and of itself. But clearly for people like Dermot and many, many others, these parts of the city seem inaccessible, but not beyond finding a solution. We're grateful to both. 81771 on the text if you want to get involved.